Hi, I'm Hadley and this is Melissa Sanders. Today our group project is based around a healthy relationship male adolescent group. It consists of 6 group members of all males and it's a closed group.
So the video is going to start out with us with our group, and at the end of a check-in with one of our group members contracting for time around a situation that came up for him during the school day. So during that school situation, it's going to be surrounding hygiene, which we'll then look at nonverbals in the group and address those to talk about how the other members are experiencing Larry.
And then the other group members will give a positive feedback for how Larry could address his poor hygiene issues.
Alright, well today I feel like a 7, so I feel pretty good.
I feel about like a 2.5. I had a really bad day. Went to the mall after school, saw a girl, talked to her, and she told me that I smelled and that she would never date me in her whole life.
Wow.
It looks like there's a reaction to the group. I'm wondering what's coming up for y'all.
Yeah, man, I mean, you gotta take showers. I mean, that's disgusting. Every time you come in a group, like, everybody can smell that you haven't taken a
Okay,
shower.
let me stop you right there for a minute. Is there another way that you could say this?
Yeah, man, I mean, everybody notices that, you don't always take showers, so you should be more conscious of that and try to take a shower.
So Larry, can you tell me what it was like to hear that from Jason?
It was terrible. It makes you feel bad. It makes you feel like what you're doing in life is not right. And I don't feel that way, but I guess other people do.
Can anyone else speak to Jason's concerns?
I definitely notice sometimes that you do smell, and other people have talked about it.
So, would anybody else like to share how Larry is affecting the group?
Well, I feel that it affects groups sometimes because a lot of us don't even want to come sit next to you, so we try to get here first, so we don't really have to do that. So.
All right, Larry, what did you hear about the feedback from the group?
So I don't really feel that I smell. I feel like everybody in group and everybody's just kind of being a jerk to me, and I don't really appreciate it.
So Larry, is there any other time in your life that you've maybe experienced this or gotten this kind of feedback before?
So I guess there are other times in my life that I've had the same experience, but those times, yeah, I don't know. I don't. I feel like I guess maybe I should pay more attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
Larry, it sounds like this problem that you've had has really affected you with other relationships in your life. Can anyone in the group kind of give any ideas on how to help Larry with this?
With all due respect to you, maybe you could, wake up in the morning, maybe think about other people in their lives, maybe have the dignity to think, well, hey, I have to be around these people at all times. Maybe, hey, maybe give yourself a smell in the morning. Maybe if you think, hey, maybe take a shower. I don't know. With all due respect, I'm not trying to be an a-hole or nothing like that, but hey,
After reviewing the video, we noticed that there were a lot of skills missed. With that being said, the rest of our group project is going to be focusing on our reflection of the video that we currently made and talking about the skills that should have been implemented and the focus that should have been around the hygiene issue.
I feel about like a 2.5. I had a really bad day. Went to the mall after school, saw a girl, talked to her, and she told me that I smelled and that she would never date me in her whole life.
Within the beginning of the session, there was, Larry did not contract for time, and he also started his story without allowing the other group members to, first of all, check in and or also contract for time. He just started his story of how he did not feel good because a girl turned him down.
Yeah, man, I mean, everybody notices that, you don't always take showers, so you should be more conscious of that and try to take a shower.
So in the last clip that you just watched, there was a lot of like attacking language, and so a good way to kind of reframe this would be to have the clients use I statements. The specific technique that was used by the therapist here was confrontation of nonverbals. There were a lot of faces being made in the group while Larry was talking, and so the therapist was addressing that. I think another skill to add on to that would be to have the group members relate to Larry and see how maybe their experiences might be similar to what Larry's been experiencing.
It was terrible. It makes you feel bad. It makes you feel like what you're doing in life is not right. And I don't feel that way, but I guess other people do.
Within this next section, Larry talks about how bad he feels and even states, "It makes you feel like what you are doing in life is not right." A more effective approach of this that the counselors could have used would be to reflect content and feeling, and even address how, even have Larry expand on what he is feeling when he says those words. I would like to say that this was missed because we are just doing a group project, but sometimes it is missed because there is no personableness between the counselor and the members. It really shows how being in the present can affect the moment and the members in the group.
So would anybody else like to share how Larry's affecting the group? So in this last clip, you saw the therapist with their language kind of identify what was going on for Larry as a problem for Larry and asking the group to respond to that. Larry has not yet identified that he has a problem, what's going on with him with his hygiene. He hasn't fully explored those feelings yet. And so this could be due to the therapist having bias, having their own personal bias, maybe smelling Larry and seeing like, and applying their sensory and what they're experiencing to the group. So it's really important to keep the client and where they're at in mind so that you can be on the same level with them and push your bias aside.
So I don't really feel that I smell. I feel like everybody in group and everybody's just kind of being a jerk to me, and I don't really appreciate it.
So Larry, is there any other time in your life that you've maybe experienced this or gotten this kind of feedback before?
Within this last clip, Larry used a lot of powerful feeling words, saying that he believes the group members were just being jerks to him. This should have been addressed by the counselors, and a more effective way of doing that would just be pointing that out and talking about how we could utilize and going back to the group rules of being polite and considerate. In not doing that, that could have created a really unsafe environment for, first of all, Larry and all the other group members.
You know, with all due respect to you, maybe you could, wake up in the morning, maybe think about other people in their lives, maybe have the dignity to think, well, hey, I have to be around these people at all times. Maybe, hey, maybe give yourself a smell in the morning. Maybe if you think, hey.
So from the beginning of this clip, as soon as this group member starts talking, I, as a therapist, feel myself getting a lot of anxiety and uncomfortable feelings around what he's even saying. I know other group members must be experiencing this. So from the very beginning, with him starting out with his nonverbals as like putting his hand out to like visually point out that somebody's doing something wrong, as well as saying, with all due respect, he's immediately going into attacking language. It's creating a very unsafe environment for the other members. And so a better way to do this would be first to have the counselors cut him off, to have him use I statements, to have him say things about how this could be affecting him, how he's experiencing group in this setting, instead of giving advice to Larry. So Larry still hasn't identified that he has a problem yet. And all the group members, as well as the therapist, are kind of saying, no, you have this problem, let me give you advice, let me tell you how to fix it. So we're still not at that place, and so the therapist really should have cut this group member off. But I think this can really speak to an appropriate screening process, why it's good to get the referrals from the individual therapist and see where the clients are at first and screen them before they're coming into group and see if they're even ready to work together in that setting. So So in reflection, there were a lot of things that came up in the group that could have been done differently. We hope that you enjoyed watching our film and seeing how it was originally done, and then in reflection on things that we would have done in a different manner. So to come back to hygiene, the main thing is just be open, honest with your group. It's affecting one member, it's probably affecting other members, and it needs to be discussed. We looked, we didn't find a whole lot of published research specific to hygiene. We found things on group distractions such as cell phones or coming to group under the influence. But I think the main theme here is to just bring up what's coming up for the group in a respectful manner, have group members talk about how it's affecting them, without advice giving, without attacking behaviors, and again, with pushing therapist bias aside and allowing them to meet the client where they're at. Getting it out there, just having everyone talk and addressing the issue. Don't let your group members hide anything. It may be uncomfortable. We did have some group members in reflection now that we saw were not contributing to the group, and it could be perhaps because they were uncomfortable talking about the issue. Those group members should have been brought in to see what they're experiencing. Maybe they have a similar situation that they're going through right now. So on our last slides, we're gonna post some links on the research we found, and we hope that you guys are able to use these skills and be open and honest with your groups in the future.